conversation about our relation, love through our nation, making the world a better place.
Hi, welcome to Our Conversations, a cousins reunion that started with a conversation, and now we want to share our conversations with you.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So today's episode is in honor of Mother's Day. And so we thought we might talk about motherhood and what that means for us and what that all entails. So as always, we share our opinions and perspectives on any given topic. We encourage you to have similar conversations amongst your family and friends. I wanted to start it off, ladies, by letting you know that I found out that there are approximately 2 billion mothers in the entire world. And out of that 2 billion, 82.5 million are mothers in the United States. So when you think about motherhood, what does that mean to you? What's your experience been like?
Mine has been very, I think being a daughter was challenging for my mom to have me as a daughter. So we didn't get along well. We were always butting heads. And I thought it was just like something that her and I just didn't get along. But I realized after being a mom that it's something that just goes with the territory of being a mother. You just don't really get along with your kids because you want them to be safe and not do anything crazy. And that's all they want to do. So I feel like that that's probably in a nutshell, the way I would describe my thinking of the way motherhood is. What do you think, Eliana?
Yeah, well, because I've been reading this book, my question is going to be different than probably the way I would have answered it a year ago. So I'm reading a book called The Conscious, can't see it, so I'll just read it. It's The Conscious Parenting by Dr. Shefali Tasbari. And she says, transforming ourselves, empowering our children. So basically what I'm learning is that part of the reason that we have some of that friction with our children is because we see ourselves in them, so that sometimes people say the parent is trying to make the child, go into dancing because she's living through the child. Well, Dr. Shefali says that a lot of the way we parent is ego driven. So if we want something from that child or we want something for that child, usually it's because of what we want, not what that child needs, what that child might want, what's best for that child. And so that's why there's a lot of friction because, that would be me. Like I see myself as a parent because I wanted to have children to love and care and build family, right? But just the other day, I must have come from just reading this book because I was talking to someone and I was saying, but I just want Aria to have a stable home, with 2 parents, so she could be raised in a 2-parent home and become that wonderful doctor or astronaut that's going to make $1 million and never suffer the rest of her life. And then we talked and I was like, oh my God, here I am saying that for myself. I want a stable home. I want to have an education and a career, and I don't want to suffer all the time, whatever I was trying to say. So my answer is, now the way I see motherhood is being someone who brings somebody into this world, but they're their own individual person and their lives is their own. My job is just to usher them in, guide them, and be there for them as a parent, of course, but not to make them into little me. What do you think, Crystal?
Yeah, the idea of motherhood has always been appealing to me. I think it was always in my feeling, in my nature to want children, simply because what I do for a living and what I did before I was in the classroom, I was always working with kids. So it's always been in my nature to be around children. So every step of the way, as I had the experiences I had, in the back of my mind, it was, all of this is preparing me for motherhood. So when I finally have my own kids, like, I'm going to know exactly what to do. And that's totally a lie because every person is an individual, and their experiences are their own, and every parent-child combination is its own unique experience. And so, like, when I think about motherhood now, it is such a mirror, in the sense, like, being a mom has forced me to really take a look at myself. We've talked about like self-help and things like that in past episodes. And so, like, being a mom has forced me to think about the parts of me that I need to fix or make better, just so that I can be the best possible parent that I can be. So, like, spending time with my kids and doing things with my kids is almost like putting a mirror in front of me and making me really take a look at myself and think about, like, how can I be my best self so that I can be the best mom to them.
So Eliana, saying about, trying to have your kids be, nurses, doctors, astronauts, or these jobs that make lots of money, right? So it's funny because I was listening to something, it was this religious thing I listened to, and it was saying how children usually don't pay attention to what they want to do or what they want to be, because their parents are always pushing them to be this, that, or the other thing. And so that they don't suffer, or they make money so that they're not in a bad place. But it stops them from being their own person, from pursuing the things that make them happy. So in a way, I guess, if I could give an example, it would be like Andrew following in his mother's footsteps and being a nurse, as opposed to doing what he's doing now and in construction. So, you wouldn't think that that's something, hard labor is something that somebody would like, but he actually loves it, as opposed to having, not that being a nurse obviously is very difficult. It's a mental thing, it's a physical thing, but it's a different type of work for sure. So I think that we as parents, we think we want the best for our children, but we don't take into consideration or ask them even what it is that they want to do. And if they do tell us and we think it's something ridiculous, we're like, you can't do that, so yeah. I think that, we as parents probably should take a better look, or ask our children what it is that they want out of their lives.
So I know that for me too, I wanted, I didn't even know at the time whether it would be something that I would be honored to even experience, but I did definitely want like my own biological child, like my own flesh and blood, I guess. So, I always tell women who are either pregnant or thinking of getting pregnant, becoming a parent, that the love and the joy of first seeing your child is a love that's beyond any love that you'll ever feel. So I think as parents, what happens is that love, what I'm learning from Dr. Shefali is that, that love sometimes comes from our need, and so what happens is, I think we say, oh, we love our child, and we say we want our child to be happy, but we don't take the time to really figure out, who is this little being, who is he or she? What are their personalities? What are their likes or dislikes? What do they prefer, don't prefer? Some children are more auditory. Some children, Crystal might know a little bit more, but I know some children, they're more sensitive to sound. Some children like their little blankies, or, so I think it's just the idea as parents. I agree with both of you that just, learning from them as much as we want them to learn from us, learning from them, and then adding what I'm learning, which is learning about ourselves through them, through parenting them.
Yeah, we know that motherhood can be really challenging, but I guess I would say, like, I would ask you what's really special or fulfilling about being a mom.
I would have to definitely say the love you get from them. I think now even more so because I'm a grandmother. Um, I find that I'm more patient with him than I was with my daughter. And I think because it's not, I don't have to worry about him 24/7, let's say, because he's not here 24/7. But when he is here, he's got my undivided attention. Like anything he wants, anything he needs. Um, I just want to make sure he's, you know, happy all the time. And it's not that I didn't want that for my daughter, but I was more consumed with other things. Like, I got to make sure you have your bath. I got to make sure your schoolwork's done. I got to, you know, he's mostly here with me for the fun things. You know, I'm not doing his homework with him and things like that. So I think I'm enjoying that more so now. But it has also made me realize that even with my daughter being older now, that I have to also have patience with her and back off some, you know, let her be herself, and try to just love her the way she is, not try to, not that I try to change her, but I think I give too much advice. And, you know, I get that, I guess, you know, from being Cape Verdean and being raised the way we were, you know, you just, well, this is what you have to do. And this is, you know, you have to have like 10 plus kids and, you know, things like that. I think I've gotten a little more lax with them. It's not a worry anymore.
So for me, you know, I definitely what I'm getting goes with my love language, or the most enjoyable part of being a parent for me is that I'm able to maybe fulfill, you know, my love language. And we've talked about love languages, and I've always tried to, you know, try to figure out what their love language is. But the best part is the hugs and the kisses, you know. I love coming home. They're, you know, the other ones are so old, they're older. So for, let's say, okay, the 19-year-olds, it's coming home or them coming, and before they leave, love you, mom, and they give me a hug. Forget it. That's it. You know what I mean? That's it for me. Okay, I got the joy, that the reason why I, you know, had to go through all that. My
Yeah.
body, my mind, my money, my time, all eaten up by these people. The 17-year-old, it's definitely, she's a girl, definitely. Like everything I'm reading about this book, it's so real. You know what I mean? Like who she is. And I agree with what Crystal said about, you know, like, I'm going to put it in my own words, but who she is completely different than who I am. So that's where that tension comes in, because I have to, it's a challenge for me now to have to accept her for who she is, because her and we don't match, I think, as personalities. So her and I just talking and her actually listening to me, and I realized that, ooh, a light bulb just went off. She actually is agreeing with me because she's old enough now. And then, of course, with the little one, it's more of just walking through the door. Mommy, okay, that's it. You got me. You could have anything you want now, you
Yep.
know, because it's usually running to me, saying mommy, and giving me a hug. Well, you just gave me affection, you know, attention. And then the quality time, I guess, just comes with just me, you know, they're not old enough yet to, I'll try to tell the boys, you know, to come over or whatever, but with the 5-year-old, it's more about making time with her. So I'm getting that part, that joyous part. What about you, Crystal?
Yeah, it's funny how this loops back to our conversations about the love languages, just because I'm thinking it's like, this is going to sound so selfish, but clearly being a mom is definitely not. There's nothing about motherhood that is like selfish, in the sense that, like, we know we are doing so much for our kids, but it's those moments when they show you, or they express love in the way that you like need it, that you weren't even expecting it, and it just happens organically. Like those are the best.
Yeah.
So it's a little self-serving, but as we know, words of affirmation, that's my thing. So like, and I happen to be the only woman in the house. So like if we're going somewhere, we're getting ready, or we're getting ready for a date night, and I come downstairs and they'll be like, "Mommy, you're so pretty." And I'm like, you know, like it's a compliment. Like, thanks. And they're like, "Mommy, I love you so. You're the best mommy in the world." And I'm like, okay, you can have whatever.
You can have what-
It's sweet because you know that it's like it's sincere in the sense that they weren't told to tell you that, they just tell you, and it's the best. It's the best feeling. It makes up for all of
every
you have to do.
it makes up for all of it. And
Yeah.
it's even Brianna, at the age she is too, she'll get me something because she knows I like certain things, or she'll, if I'm going out and I look nice and she says, "Oh, Mom, you look really pretty," it still makes me feel like, okay, I'm super mom. Like I did, and then when people talk about her, like, we work together. So, people talk to her at work and they come up to me and they're like, "You did a great job. She's such a great kid. She's lovely," and all these nice things. And I'm like, she's great, and that's all we can hope for, I guess, at the end of the day, is that we do a good job and they have love, empathy, and all these things that they can pass on to their own children.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say is like, I guess what I wanted to ask you all, did you feel like you were expected to be a mom? Because I wanted to kind of talk, like, there aren't, we are all moms, but not everyone who watches this, or just other people that we know, not everyone can or wants to experience motherhood. So like, were you expected? Do you feel like there was an expectation to be a mom?
As being Cape Verdeans, I would say definitely. My mom was always, you're going to get married, have kids. And it was always like a conversation. I really didn't want to have kids. I wanted to go to school and I wanted to have no children. And the reason why was because I always was the one who was babysitting or watching the younger siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And have, Tanisha came later, but when you have two other younger siblings, the last thing you want to do is, I guess, being Americanized in that you know that you have that option. I did not want to have any children. I mean, I ended up having one anyway and wouldn't change it for the world. But I can see why some people do not want them, and they shouldn't be faulted for it. I think that, it's up to the individual. You know what you want, and it goes back to not pressuring your kids into doing things and being, astronauts or what have you. They shouldn't be pressured to be parents if they don't want to. I think that's how you end up with bad parenting.
Great. I agree. Yeah. So I thought, or maybe the way I was thinking at the time was that I definitely arrived and became an adult once I had children. So that was me thinking, oh, in order for me to get to a place where now I'm an adult, part of that adult reality involves being a mother. So if it was pressure from society or culture or my family, I don't really know. All I know is all I could remember is, sure, I want to go to school. Sure, I want a career. Sure, I want a comfortable life, but I won't be an adult until I have my own children. So it's a very interesting question. Do I think women are pressured to have children just because they have a womb and they have the capacity to have children? I think that's probably a reality for a lot of people. And do I think that it's probably difficult for women who choose not to have children to live in a society like that? Definitely, right? Because they're going to think that you're selfish, that you're not giving back to the world or to the family, keeping the legacy, the family name going. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I mean, I would think too that, I know we've had previous conversations with one other cousin who stated that she might, you know, she might choose not to have children, but she's going to adopt. So that's still being a mother, right? You could still be a mother, but do you really have to be do you have to be officially a mother by giving birth to a child? Or can you just do mothering because you want to be nurturing and kind and selfless and you know, taking care of somebody else's needs?
Yeah. I don't think I was similar to you. I don't think I was necessarily pressured by any one person, but I think it was just always in my mind. These are the steps of life. And first I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. And part of that is having kids. I think it was just like, I guess, societal expectations. This is just what we do. And I also, like I said, I've been around a lot of kids. So it was also kind of just a part of like, this is what's going to happen. And there were some struggles along the way. And maybe this is like for another episode, but I actually had 2 early losses before I got pregnant with my first son. And so when I think about motherhood, what it's also making me think about are the people who either don't want to have children and shouldn't be pressured to feel like they need to. Also people who desperately want children, biological children, and they can't for one reason or another. So I know that like motherhood, there's a lot of celebration. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But then at the same time, like this can also be potentially a painful time for a lot of people because they're still trying. They haven't met the right person that they want to have kids with, or like they felt forced to have children and that's the unsaid parts, right? Some people may be parents who never really wanted to become parents, and then they felt super pressured. Or you know, they have been trying for so many years and like they're about to give up. Or other people who unfortunately may have either been abandoned by their parents, or their parents have passed away. And so like celebrating motherhood with maybe someone who has gone ahead, if you will, it can be really difficult for people too. So when I think about motherhood, I'm grateful that I have the kids that I have. I'm grateful that I still have my mom here with me. And I'm also thinking about the fact that that's not true for a lot of people, and like how to support other people in honoring perhaps a mother who's passed away.
Yes, definitely.
Those fur mommies, I guess is what they call them now, you know, because like you said, some people can't have kids. Maybe they can't afford to adopt because let's face it, that's not cheap. And then, you know, they have their dogs and they love them like, you know, they're part of the family. I know I've had dogs, so they are part of your family, believe me. They become like your children to some extent. So, you know, those parents too. So, you know, guys, it's been a great conversation, and happy Mother's Day to everyone. We wish you a great weekend. Hopefully we have some nice warm weather.
I hope.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Click, 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 click.
Yes, thank you, cousins, for having this conversation about motherhood, and thank you for listening to us and tuning in. No matter how you celebrate Mother's Day, we hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time,
I'm Eliana.
I'm Vonda.
I'm Crystal, and this is
Our Conversations.
Bye.
Bye bye.